Hello students. Today we are going to discuss Hegel's theory of state. Hegel's theory of state is actually a direct outcome of Hegel's theory of dialectics, or it is based upon his theory of dialectics. Now, what is Hegel's theory of dialectics? According to Hegel, any situation, until or unless reached its level of perfection, contains within itself conflicting elements. And because of this contradictory nature, it always raises its opposing forces. And for the first situation, Hegel uses the word thesis. And because this thesis is not perfect, it is characterized by contradictions, it raises its opposing forces in the form of antithesis. So then there is a continual struggle between thesis and antithesis for supremacy. And in this struggle, all the ignorance vanished in a continual process. And what left in the end? Only reality. And this reality from both thesis and antithesis combines into a third situation, that is synthesis. So synthesis actually synthesizes the good qualities of both thesis and antithesis. Then if this synthesis is perfect, the process came to an end. But if this synthesis is also not perfect, this synthesis converts into a new thesis, and because this new thesis is not perfect, it once again gives rise to a new antithesis. Then there is a continual struggle between this new thesis and antithesis. They end up in the third situation, a new synthesis. And according to Hegel, this process continues until the 100% perfection is not achieved. So now we try to visualize his theory of state through the prism of his theory of dialectics. So according to Hegel, he conceives in his theory of state as a product of the great dialectical process of objectification. So how this dialectical process, great dialectical process of objectification conceived by Hegel? According to Hegel, he conceives family as the thesis, civil society as the antithesis, and state as the synthesis. Now he also characterizes the family as an institution that is based upon particular altruism. Civil society is an institution that is based upon universal egoism, and state as an institution based upon universal altruism. At first, we will try to explain these three terms, what we actually mean by family that is based upon particular altruism, civil society that is based upon universal egoism, and state that is based upon universal altruism. So particular family. So according to Hegel, family is the first natural human organization that is automatically emerged from basic human needs of relations. So according to Hegel, family is characterized by particular altruism. Altruism means the family is actually based upon love and affection. And particular altruism means every family has its own value system. Every family has its own look of the world. Every family has its own view of the world. So that's why particular altruism, no doubt every family is based upon the principles of love and affection. There is no competition in the family. There is actually no hateness of the family. The basic characteristics that defines family is love and affection. But the particular altruism means every family still has a different value system. No doubt it's slightly different, but it has a different value system that makes it a unique institution. Then civil society. Civil society actually characterized by universal egoism. Universal egoism means in civil society, every individual is competitor of the other individual. So civil society is characterized by brute competition. Every individual is competing in society for his survival. So it's not based upon love and affection. It's based upon egoism, on competition, on the rule of the survival of the fittest. Then state. State, according to Hegel, as in the end, synthesizes both the good qualities of the thesis and antithesis. It's based upon universal altruism. That means in state, it actually combines the good qualities of both thesis and antithesis of family and society. So it is based upon universal altruism. That means in state, every individual is not conceived every other individual as competitor, but the relationships are more cooperative, more supportive to each other. Now we'll try to explain through his theories of dialectics the origin of the state. So according to Hegel, the first natural organization is actually family, the first organization which automatically emerged from human needs in the history of humanity. So, family is thesis, but it's not perfect. Why it's not perfect? Because family fulfill basic human needs. It originated because of this purpose. It's no doubt it fulfill basic human needs, but beyond these basic needs, it has limitations, and these limitations characterized its contradictory nature. So, because family is not able to fulfill all human needs, therefore, some individuals left family and they met in the civil society. So, that's why civil society originated because of the limitations of family. So, because family is not able to fulfill your all needs, therefore, some individuals left the family and they met in civil society. Now, civil society. In civil society, every individual came from a different background, a different particular value system. Therefore, every individual considers his value system as right and other value systems as wrong. Therefore, every individual conceives other value system as at competition with its own value system. Therefore, when every individual considers its value system right, and that applies to every individual of the civil society, therefore, society conceived by Hegel as arena of universal egoism, in which every individual conceives his own value system right. Every individual is at competition with the other individual. This is not like the family. In family, everything is based upon love and affection. The basic fundamental principle which actually unites family, which actually defines family, is the principle of love and affection. We don't conceive the others in family at a competition, but in civil society, that's totally different. So, according to Hegel, at the first stage, at the first level, civil society is an arena of great competition of universal egoism. But slowly but surely, the great dialectical process of objectification continues. Then, in this great dialectical process of objectification, the ignorance, the darkness slowly reduces. And in this process, according to Hegel, in this great dialectical process, slowly, the civil society actually moves towards cooperation. After the passage of the after passage of some time, the civil society actually organized certain rudimentary organizations, like who supervises the relations. It also develops certain traditions, certain convocations, and ultimately, when civil society actually develops certain organizations, certain cultural principles, certain traditions, certain shared understanding, the competition is actually reduced to cooperation. The cooperation slowly but surely actually build up in society, and ultimately they the competition between or struggle between the family and the civil society gave rise to a third situation, that is state. Now, state is actually combines the good qualities of both family and civil society. In state, there is a competition. No doubt there is competition state, but healthy competition that is necessary for good life. But in state, there is also cooperation. There is also love and affection. The state also cares about its subjects. The state provide welfare services. The state actually, the welfare services actually symbolizes care and affection. But the state in state, there is also competition. So the state actually is the culmination of the great dialectical process of objectification, because it actually synthesizes the good qualities of both family and civil society. So this is the philosophical understanding of how state emerges from the great process of objectification. Now, Hegel basic characteristics. How Hegel explains the basic characteristics of his theory of state. So, first is Hegel's theory of state is actually the organic theory of the state. Now, what is this organic theory of the state? There are three types of main fundamental theories which explains the origin of state or the nature of state. The first is organic theory of the state, the most traditional, one of the most traditional theories of the state. So, organic theory of the state actually explains the state is more important than the individual, or in more philosophical terms, the whole is greater than and more important than its constituting parts. So, it conceive the state as a whole and the individuals as its constituting parts. So according to this theory, organic theory, because we can't conceive the parts without the existence of the whole, therefore the whole is more important than its constituting part. The finger of the individual is actually not important than the whole body. The hand is actually not important than the whole of the body. Any arm, any leg, any single part is actually not important than the whole of the body. So when the survival of the whole is in danger, we can sacrifice certain part. So this theory conceives that, organic theory conceives that state is more important than the individual, because state is necessary for settled human life. So if state is more important than the individual, that means we can sacrifice certain human rights and liberties for the sake of the state at certain times. So this is organic theory of the state. Now the second is state as representative of universal reason. So according to Hegel, state is actually representative of universal reason. State is actually a mega mind. Therefore, he conceives the state as a culmination of the dialectical process of objectification. So according to Hegel, this is the principle which is actually uh, fundamentally contested by Marx. According to Marx, the state don't actually represent the whole humanity or universal reason. State actually represents the reason of the rich class, or the class which owns the means of production. So according to Hegel, state is actually representative of the universal reason. State is a mega mind. Therefore, all the subject should uh, 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 consider the uh, state as fundamental institution. Then state as the culmination of human development. So Hegel conceives the state as the culmination of human development. According to him, rational is real and real is rational. So Hegel considers no difference between the ideal state and the actual state. Ideal state is that is only exist in theory, that is only exist in your imagination, and the real state, actual state, is which actually exist in reality. So this distinction is sometimes maintained by certain philosophers, but according to Hegel, rational is real, real is rational. That means the existing state, because it's culmination of the great dialectical process of objectification, it's also contains all characteristics which are actually featured ideal state. So according to Hegel, the state is actually culmination of human development. It is actually the state is actually a stage where the 100% perfection has been achieved by human evolution. So he considers the state, the origin of state, as a stage when 100% human evolution has been achieved, a social evolution of humanity. Then state is state is more important than the individual. As we consider the organic theories, consider the state as more important than the individual. In organic theory, the whole is actually more important than the parts. Therefore, the state is more important than the individuals. So therefore, the organic theories, Hegel also consider the state as more important than the individual. He has no objection to say that the individual rights and liberties can be sacrificed for the sake of the state. Then state is all powerful. Hegelian state is all powerful. Hegelian state is all powerful. It's an authoritarian state because he believes in organic theories of the state. Therefore, Hegelian state is all powerful. It's a sole source of law. It's a sole executor of law. It's a sole adjudicator of law. So all the powers of legislature, executive, and judiciary lies in the state. So moral law cannot be plead against the state. Social law cannot be plead against the state. No social convention can be plead against the state. So state has all powerful. It can do anything, whatever is desired. Then next is state and the individual liberty. That's very important. State and individual liberty, that's very important in aspect of Hegel's theory of state. So according to Hegel, state represents the universal mind. State represents the universal reason. Therefore, state is more wiser than the individual. So therefore, what is liberty for the individual? He is not actually believe in the brute liberty. According to his, liberty is actually subordinate to state. So if what should be the liberty for the individual? So according to Hegel, the individual which actually perfectly enjoys his actions within the limits which are provided by the state is actually enjoy the perfect liberty. So, according to Hegel, liberty is certain kind of has some certain kind of positive content. He actually wants to say that the our liberty exists only if we recognize the liberty of the others. So that means the state can limit your liberty. So your liberty is actually based upon the upon to what extent state wants to provide you. Then state and war. According to Hegel, Hegel considers war a good thing. This is very surprising thing, but Hegel considers war as an instrument through which we decides which is the true embodiment of the divine spirit. So, according to Hegel, war actually is a good thing in international relations, because through war, state purification is actually came to its identification. Then state and international relations. According to Hegel, in international relations, there is a state of anarchy. Therefore, every state should prepare for its what can it do best in the international relation. Thank you so much.